The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
The mind of Pat Popolizio is a wondrous thing. And for you Pac wrestling fans, you'll get to go inside the mind of the Skip each and every episode here on the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Now, here's your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. I'm your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt, and I'm sitting here with the head coach of the Wolfpack, Pat Popolizio.
Brian, always good to see you.
Pat, a little surreal. Different episode today. You know, we'd like to have fun on here. We joke and talk a lot, but very serious subject. A lot has changed. I thought we'd be doing an NCAA preview today, but obviously those plans are off. Got to ask you, what was your initial reaction to the NCAA championships being canceled this year?
Yeah, you hit it on the head. Definitely a different situation, and was still analyzing the brackets and, you know, mapping some things out with travel, getting things scheduled when we got word. Just in shock with everybody else. I think that's one of those that just still hard to digest and still doesn't feel like it's a real thing right now. It feels like we're still going to have this, but obviously I know we're not. It was a painful process to go through that whole scenario with the guys who have qualified, and you know, you feel for not just our guys, but anybody that's competing in the sport, because you know how much work goes into it, and obviously the other sports too. So everybody's been affected by it.
I was going to say, and it kind of seems like you coaches might not even understand what was going on or why the decision was reached. How do you convey it to your guys? How did you explain it to them, or how did you have a sit down with your guys?
Well, we were fortunate to have Boo, our AD, was in the building when we got word on it. So he came, talked to the guys, kind of, you know, I think still not everybody still understands why, and what message. I think just the safety and following the leadership that's in charge with NCAA and obviously here. You know, you got to look at the overall picture. So I think that's critical. But yeah, the message, I don't know. You know, again, the sport teaches you a lot about life. And then when you have to deal with these kind of situations, it's like taking a really bad loss. You know, you guys compete and you take a loss and it hurts and it burns, and everybody's been through it at some point in their career. And this one's probably the worst one yet because it was out of your control. So yeah, I don't know. I think at some point a life lesson will be learned. I don't know how we turn this into a positive, but I think we'll figure it out, and it'll keep guys motivated and hungry long term. And, you know, it makes you sometimes really appreciate things that you do have, and you can't ever take anything for granted. So I know we're dealing with a lot of that right now, and I do like the attitude and how guys are trying to stay positive right now. And I know some of them are still, you know, we're not able to do anything in here, but I know a lot of them are obviously doing stuff on their own right now because they feel that need to. They're workers, so they want to keep working and do something to kind of better themselves. And we're fortunate enough to have everybody back again next year, so no one really ends their career on this. It ends their season. And again, feel for those guys that are actually, as of right now, ending their career off of not being able to compete.
It was kind of a weird process. You know, it didn't just end on day one. They were going to say no fans, Minnesota. Minnesota, I think, sold over 40,000 tickets to this event. It was going to be the biggest NCAA championships of all time. Then the seeds came out. And like you said, we were actually working on different travel plans. We were going to get up there a different way. And then the ACC canceled the men's basketball tournament. Dominoes fell. You found out. Has there been talk amongst you coaches about anything? Anybody reached out or conference calls or anything?
No, it's been really quiet. That's the eerie part. It's there's really not much talk about anything, and that's where it's just like, what's going on? Obviously, we know it's over, but it just feels very eerie to end the season and just say, hey, that's it. Usually you get that amp up of NCAAs where you hit every emotion, highs, lows, just the wild craziness, but then to go compete at the ACC tournament and then come back and then just be like, hey, the season's over. It's just a weird feeling because you always have that tournament that kind of, I don't know, you get to compete, you see your guys pour everything out there, and then you kind of, usually that weekend you celebrate everybody's success. You have a social and you honor guys and you get All-Americans, national champs, whatever it is teams accomplish, kind of puts the season to sleep. But that's not the case this year. So, yeah, it's just definitely different in Erie right now.
I was going to say emotions are high right now. Obviously, everybody's feeling really down because the whole tournament was canceled. But this team came home with an ACC championship. How do you kind of turn it around and celebrate the ACC title?
Yeah, we have not actually really done that yet. And then I think with things kind of closed and shut down here and where we're at, we'll figure out a time to really celebrate. And I don't think it's just going to be us here. I think there's obviously other teams on campus and, across the country. We got to make sure that these guys are rewarded for their success. And we will do our part at some point here to honor these. And I know it's kind of a hard time to really put that out in front with what's going on. But I do, I drove by Reynolds and I saw the banner they put up there with women's basketball and wrestling. So our guys take notice of that kind of stuff. So that's important. But at some point we do, I'm sure right now as we stand our end of the year department, the Wolfies we call them, right? It sounds like those are going to be canceled. And that's usually a good time to celebrate everybody's success here in the department. So maybe, I know we got good leadership, and I'm sure next year when we start school year up or whenever, we'll implement something that these guys get rewarded for that.
I know there's an awful lot of focus on the mat of what's going on, but off the mat, we're talking about school. These guys are still in classes. Spring break was extended an extra week here at NC State, and now it looks like going online for most of the classes. How do you guys been adapting to that, kind of switching the guys' mentality of you still have to get the schoolwork done too? Yeah,
that's our main focus right now is making sure the guys that need help academically with support that they were getting in the previous weeks continue to maintain that. We've been doing very well academically. I think we had 20-something guys over 3.0. So we got a really motivated team when it comes to academics. So again, that's not a major concern, but we don't want to drop off because we have high goals to accomplish this year academically, trying to break in the top 25 this year with the team academics standpoint and getting academic All-American. So we're in a good spot there. We just got to make sure we maintain communication with our guys, and if anybody needs help, there's plenty of resources and plenty of ways to do it with, I'm sure, getting online and figuring things out. But yeah, it's weird. You're used to seeing your guys every day. Literally from August, I would say at least 6 days out of the week you see them, and then you wake up, everybody has to leave for spring break, get out of here for a little bit, and it's just like we're lost. We can't go recruiting. We're in a complete dead period, which is good. I think that's healthy for coaches finally in our sport. We've been pushing to try to get that done. We were forced to have it, so maybe people will realize that it's actually a positive thing to have a dead period at some point of the season for our sport. And it gives us time. We told the guys, it's going to be different right now, but this is our time to really focus in on the guys that are actually here on campus, our current rostered athletes, instead of focusing on guys that we're trying to get. So I think it's a positive thing when it comes to that, because we can really work with our guys, not just wrestling wise, but getting to know them a little better and understanding their needs.
The Olympics are this summer, so definitely it was going to be different freestyle anyway. The U.S. Open's already happened. The team trials have already happened. But now with this going on, how do you see guys going out competing this summer?
Yeah, I'm curious to know if we'll still have some of these off-season competitions. I know their main focus right now has got to be the senior level guys in the trials, so I don't know what that's going to do for the junior teams and the UW23 competition. It will be very interesting. Everybody's got their work cut out for them to probably find a weekend to do that, and finding, let's say, getting a gym. And I don't know. It's going to be unique and different. But right now, I think the main focus for USA Wrestling's got to probably be the senior level guys getting the Olympic trials in, because it's going to be, who knows if Olympics even get pushed back. That's another concern. And you got these guys in that are on a 4-year cycle right now that are looking really good. And Nick's part of that. Mock, Tommy, Casper, those guys that are already qualified for the trials. Those guys want to get their shot at it. So it's just it's a hard thing to plan when it comes to training. And it's the first time ever where you don't know when your next competition is going to be. And you just gotta maintain your focus, the mental side of things, and obviously the technical side, and make sure it's a challenging time for an athlete when it comes to training. But on the flip side of it, everybody's in the same boat. So no one's going to have an advantage or a disadvantage. So everybody's kind of in the same position. And now we just got to make sure we come up with a plan for these guys.
We do have one bit of news. Nick Wisdowski, he was in action up in Canada, Pan Am qualifiers, I believe it was. Breezed to that gold. Your thoughts? He got 2 techs, 2 forfeits, but most importantly, he qualified 125 for the U.S. for the Summer Olympics. So very big step for Nick. He took a little bit. He was away from tournaments. How did you think he did this past weekend?
They look great. Just in our room over the last several weeks, he's looked very good, very sharp. And, has been working a lot on the mental side of things, little detailed stuff, because at that level, every little bit is going to matter for him. But you can tell he's really focused in on the areas that he's trying to get better at. It showed in that competition because he put up a lot of points, looked aggressive, looked very strong, powerful. And it was good. It's good momentum for him going into the trials, which, again, we don't know exactly when they're going to be. They were supposed to be here early April. Yeah. And now everything we're hearing probably end of May. So give him more time to keep getting better, but he's really done a great job focusing on the mental side of things. The technical side, he's in here every day working with our coaching staff, Donnie and Adam and Timmy, doing a lot of really good things. But I just like the mindset that he has, and he's matured a ton, and you can see the gains that the gains from the little detailed things that he's putting in are really starting to pay off.
I know, last thing I'm going to get you out of here. You kind of said recruiting is a dead period right now, so you really can focus on all of your guys coming back. Will there be more work from you and your staff focusing on things, preparing for next year? You guys as a staff, how do you see your spring going here?
Yeah, we're going to get together. We're going to brainstorm, basically come up with our strategic plan here for next year, map out different things that we feel like we're going to need for next year's team. Start really communicating with the new guys coming in. There's a lot of just spring stuff that we can attack in the next month and get ahead as far as when we actually do and are able to get back to recruiting, that we're going to be able to, the office work things that we needed to accomplish, push those to the side at that point, but really get ahead of things now. So it'll balance itself out. And again, everybody's in the same boat, so there's not really an advantage or disadvantage when it comes to recruiting. We still can talk to the kids that we've built relationships with, but getting out in front of them, and there's really no competitions to go out and scout. So it's really just visiting kids, but a lot of that's been done already. As we get ready for the next cycle of sophomores who are going to be juniors, is really the next phase of recruiting for us.
Pat, thanks for taking the time to chat with us. This situation, it changes almost daily. You could even say hourly. Thanks for catching us up. And we're going to be providing a lot more updates of what's going on and just sitting down with some of our guys here. It's a hard time for them, but hope you keep conveying that message that next year, let's get ready.
Yeah, we'll be excited to attack this off season once we get everything back and, I think back to where it was, and just timing and everybody being allowed to train. We've got a good group coming back. Obviously, we don't graduate anybody, so add in some of these freshmen that we're going to bring in. We're going to have a really good, motivated group. Expect big things again from this team, and the attitude is top notch and great leadership with what we got. So it should be an exciting off season building into next year.
Mentality Pop-Ins podcast is produced by the Mat Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, go to MatTalkOnline.com.